Welcome to kathysright.com. Today, we'll have a talk with Dr. Lee O'Hare. She's a scholar. She's an educator. Hi, Dr. Lee. How you doing today?
Great. And we're also best friends and neighbors.
That's true. That's true. So, Lee, I wanted to talk to you. You have an interesting perspective as far as what is going on in the educational system today, from grade school all the way up through college. We do see and are seeing constantly right now evidence of a biased curriculum to where it seems very leftist. And the kids that are graduating high school and college even are sounding like they hate our country. First, tell me your qualifications. I want everyone to know, I already know your qualifications, but the reason I'm speaking to you is because you are a scholar and you have a lot to offer. What do you think?
Thanks, Kathy. I do. I have 4 degrees. I have a degree in education. My baccalaureate degree is in education. And I was selected by the faculty as most outstanding student. Then I have a master's degree in counseling and education. And then I have an ed specialist degree in education. And that degree, in Alaska, they didn't have at the time a doctoral program. And by the way, I moved to Alaska to go to college. They did not have a doctoral degree at the university, but they had an ed specialist degree, and that qualified you to be a superintendent of schools. Then I moved outside the state because I wanted to get my doctorate, and I got I earned my doctorate in education and research, and my dissertation concerned organizational improvement and change, and I also received outstanding dissertation. So that degree, I also was awarded an outstanding degree. And the other thing that I did is, just so that you know, my first 3 degrees centered on multicultural education. They had to have a focus on multicultural education, and at that time, multicultural education just meant that you understood other cultures. It was an emphasis on understanding the difference between cultures so that you could do better teaching kids from different cultures. For example, I was from a very native community, Native Alaskan, and you learn that those kids learn more through watching and through listening and observing rather than talking. And so they're considered more nonverbal. So when you teach them in school, you want to have a soft voice. You want to be more careful of the fact that they like a lot of creativity. They're very artistic and creative. So anyway, that's what multicultural in those days was about. It was not to separate the cultures as much as to understand cultures, to have a human compassion for various cultures and how to teach, based on how that culture learns.
Do you see evidence today of people not really embracing other cultures or appreciating other cultures rather than judging other cultures?
Well, all I can say is what I see on TV and listen to the different people speaking and the politicians. They're trying to take cultures and make us dislike other cultures, and it's all about segmenting us into groups, so and not really liking. They're trying to make us not like each other, but that's part of the whole goal I see. I have to say I'm Republican. That's part of the goal I see of the Democrats who want unrest. They want us to not like each other because that's how they can tear down our society. Instead of embracing each other and our cultures, they're trying to make us different. I was thinking about this morning. When you and I first met, we became friends because they're so much alike. The only difference in the two of us is the color of our skin. That's the only difference. We like the same clothes. We like the same food. Everything. Our parents were very much alike in terms of how we had to have manners. We had to sit the same way. We were talking about how, like we had to sit with our legs crossed a certain way. We had certain shoes. Yeah, we dressed. We know how to dress. You and I, when we go out, we dress nicely.
And so certain words we weren't. Remember, I was not allowed to say ain't.
Growing up. And I also was not allowed to say things like I couldn't say that I hated, and maybe this has something to do with today. I can remember I would get so mad at my sisters, and I just wanted to say I hate you. Oh, If you use the word hate, then that was a horrible thing, because that's a terrible thing to think about another person. And so my parents always taught us not to hate. And so anyway, that's what it was like. You and I, are very alike, and that's why we're friends.
Yes.
And today the politics of the whole thing is to make us not like each other because of the color of our skin, or how, whether we're Democrat or Republican. The whole thing is trying to tear down our society, which is now going into my dissertation, which is a little bit different. You and I were going to talk about schools and school choice.
Yes.
My dissertation is on organizational change and improvement. And like I say, I'm not bragging about this, but I'm just saying I was given an award. It's a huge school, Nova Southeastern University. It's out of Miami, and it was a large group, and my dissertation was selected by the faculty as outstanding dissertation.
Wow.
And so, but that is, I can see now in what's happening with our country, is that just the things that make a country great and an organization great, they're trying to tear down. And that's the whole point of what's happening now. When you see all the unrest, when you see trying to group people according to the color of their skin or how they vote and stuff, that's all to break down our system. And they've been very successful at getting people angry and breaking down our system, because they want to break down our country. They don't like America, the people. They really don't. They want a worldview, and they want our country is just this, gets in their way of what they want, which is world. The people that are doing this, it's globalism
Yes.
instead of the U.S. So anyway, I'm off on a tangent there. But
you think about it, globalism. If they can get us all to not get along because if I feel put upon because of my color, because I'm black, and then if I can blame you, that would keep us separate, and we could never really be friends if we are thinking that way. I think a lot of it was they started slowly but surely changing our language.
Right.
Political correctness, words that we can and cannot say now make no sense. I mean, when we weren't able to say things like hate or ain't, it was because we were trying to be polite. But politeness turned into political correctness because the game changed. There was a different goalpost. And now the words, we're not allowed to say Chinese. We're supposed to say Asian. We're not allowed to say Oriental. We're not. They say, well, my daughter will even say, Mom, we don't say that anymore.
Right.
And
the same thing with the language. It used to be that English was the language of America, of the United States. Well, now it's like, oh, wait, we can't do that. We have to have all these other languages. Well, that's part of what breaks down your society. It breaks down our government. You really need to have one language that every single person understands well. And then you can have your own language. It's sort of like this multicultural thing that I was talking about. Then you have your own language of your home language. You can speak that, in other places. But in order for our country to succeed, we need one language that people study and understand well. And then that's what you look to. And when we're talking about my dissertation, I'll tell you the 4 points, and I'm sorry to go into this, but look at it as our country. First of all, in my dissertation, I looked at 4 frames that, whether you're in whether in a family group, or whether you're in a school, whether you're in the, government or the whole country, this is what is sustaining and what you really need. Every organization that sustains needs a structural frames. The structural frame is like our Constitution. That's what we know works. It's law and order. That's the structural frame.
Okay.
Then we have the symbolic frame. The symbolic frame is what people grasp onto, if you'll remember during 9/11, and it means the flag. It's the flag. It's our song. It's in the United States. It's our Pledge of Allegiance.
We actually went and bought a lot of flags after 9/11. I remember that.
Right, and everybody grabbed onto that. It's when it's in football games and sports, when you sing, the America the Beautiful, or stuff like that. When you say the Pledge of Allegiance, that is the symbolic frame. And then you have the political frame that everybody needs to understand, and that is when, like, the Democrats or the Republicans, or even in your family, you have to know, okay, who has control here? It's my parents. That you still have to know that they sort of are the leaders there, and so you have to look at leadership different ways. And then the other thing is the humanistic frame, and the humanistic frame is like, in our country we have Medicaid to help people out that need help. We have firemen. We don't have to have firemen. They're helping other people. In our home, it's kindness towards your sisters and brothers, and it's knowing that there's compassion, and that's the humanistic frame. And every organization has to have that. So you can write. I think in today's day, humanistic has a different meaning. But when I was writing my dissertation, 30 years ago, it means compassion, helping other people. It's something that comforts. Like neighbors helping each other. Like you and I trade food because we like that. That's the humanistic frame.
Mostly because you're the better cook.
So the way it works is, I only studied 4 frames. There could be more, but we know that we need these 4 frames, whether it's your family, whether it goes up the chain to right now, our United States, we need these 4 frames to grasp onto. And if you remember, during 9/11, that's when it was all chaotic, but people came together. They didn't care about the color of your skin. You didn't care about anything except helping. We were Americans. And if you remember too, they started putting up the flags. They started singing. They did everything they could. And so you've got something to grasp onto. You have to have something to grasp onto in times of unrest or chaos or whatever. And that's what, like right now, they're trying to tear down our Constitution. Look, if you think about it, this is what's going on in our country. Utter chaos. They don't want us singing. They don't want us raising the flag. They don't want us pledging allegiance.
They don't want
order. They don't want law and order. Law and order comes under the structural frame. They want total chaos. That's how you break down an organization. That's what they're trying to do to America, is break down America so we don't have all of these 4 frames to grasp onto when things are bad. And so that's what they're doing. They know these are only 4 of them, but there are more. They're trying to change our language so that just even speaking correct English is considered racist or whatever they say it is.
Or if you correct someone's English.
Someone, you and I have said this, many times too. The thing that annoys us is, like grammar that, like saying ain't or I done this. No.
It's become too acceptable.
It's become accepted because otherwise we're racist or whatever it is we are. And so, but anyway, that's the whole thing that's going on in our country now, and people need to look at that. It's like, why don't they want us to have a conservative judge on the Supreme Court that follows the rules of our Constitution? Our Constitution, when it was developed, by our forefathers, it was developed so that our country could last. No matter what, you fall back on that. That's the structural frame. It's like, you follow our Constitution no matter what. Well, now the Democrats are saying, oh, no, that's wrong. We want a moving document. No, the forefathers said, no, not a moving document, because therefore the world, changes. We have certain beliefs on how to sustain a country, and the Constitution is one of them. So everything happening now is breaking down our United States, because we have AOC, this group, they don't like it. They don't like it. I feel like we were, not to get, it's pretty political, but the Obamas, they didn't like our country.
I don't believe he loved our country.
He did not love our country.
He was
he was sneaky about it. He was sneaky. He's real sneaky. But that's how he got by, is being sneaky about
If somebody
stuff.
didn't like us, he sent them $150 billion. That way they'll like us.
But if people can just look at even just 4 frames, that is structural. Okay, that's our Constitution, that's rules, that's order. If they can look at the symptotic frame, and that is our flag, our songs. You'll notice that when you were in school, every school has a school song. They have cheerleaders. Why do you think they have cheerleaders and cheers? That's part of the symbolic frame. We need that when we're under stress. And our families, we have things even in our family, like a little school, like our little family saying or whatever. And then the political frame is we have it in our families, and within our families we have the older sister or the younger sister or whatever, and it's sort of, they know their place there.
There was
they
order.
Need to know there was order.
Father, mother,
right.
child, and we
Right.
all knew our place in the family.
Right. And even if you might resent the fact that they're the youngest kid, what's important about this in an organization is that you understand where you stand, and if you want to change that and be have more clout as the youngest, then you learn how to do it. You understand how your sister operates. You watch that, your older sister, and you say, I bet I can get my way if I'm just a little bit nicer to her, And so that's the whole thing with the political frame is you have to understand the politics, just like now. We need to understand what's going on in our country. We can't just say, oh, they're rioting. Well, no, they're rioting for a reason. They're rioting because they want to cause chaos. So we have to understand that. And then the humanistic is we do have to be kind to one another, and we, within the family, we're kind. And we have something to fall back on there. And you need to know that. You need to know that as a neighbor, if you get sick or whatever, you need help, your neighbor's there to help you. Amen. So it runs all through, the system. But people need to understand those four. And they need to understand right now what's going on in our country is the tearing down of what's dear to us and what made our country great.
What held us together.
What held us together.
Oh, that's awesome.
That wraps it up for today. I'd like to thank Dr. Lee O'Hare for giving us such insight into our social structures and their importance to the cohesiveness of our American culture and our American way of life. We have all been watching, and we have all seen the leftists wage a war on families and traditional family values. We must also be able to see the glimmer of hope that still resides in the American heart. We still need our flag. We very much need families. And we need to protect and keep our freedoms, for which so many have fought and died. I am proud to call her my friend, and I know that we are not alone. There are many patriots out there, just like us. We don't hear enough about us, probably because we are not loud, mean, and obnoxious like the Democrats. That's just me saying it. So, march on, Christian soldiers. Pray for me and pray for Dr. Lee. Peace, joy, and love to you all. This is Kathy of kathysright.com. Subscribe right now. Respect our flag and one another. Fear not, 365. God bless you all, and God bless America. Bye.